Hi, I'm State Representative Mark Gillen with Kim Nagel for our legislative report, and I'm very pleased to spend time with her and her husband Frank here at the Hilltop Ranch in Moton, Berks County. Thank you for joining us. We're pleased to visit with you on 70-some marvelous acres here at the ranch. We are outside and we've got a little bit of a pasture area behind us, and there's a number of pastures and you're developing others. Can you paint a large picture for us of what's out here in your horse ranch?
Oh, everything. There's trees, lots of trees. Trails, 68 acres and plus of trails. You can ride for about two hours. Small pastures, large pastures. We're developing more pasture all the time. Creeks, we cross creeks during our trail rides. It's just a little piece of heaven.
What has impressed me is how proximal you are to the urban core, because just in a relative few minutes, you can head down 222 to 422 and you're right there in Reading. How do people hear about you? Because I feel very remote out here, yet we're highly proximal to the rest of Berks County. Do people find you in the phone book? Do they see your program, satisfied customers, all of the above?
It's all the above. Very much word of mouth, and we are in the phone book. People want to go horseback riding, they can Google horseback riding and we come up. So a lot of different ways people find out about us.
For many years, properties like this were under developmental pressure. How many operations like your own have gone under by virtue of lack of profitability, or people wanting to put houses on the land?
Several, and they're building very close to us now, and they're coming closer to us. So we're going to try and keep the property as long as we can as it is, but the property taxes are an issue also.
Absolutely, and we're working on that in Harrisburg. Not fast enough for your satisfaction or mine for sure. I have to be honest with you, as close as I lived to here, the first intersection I had with your operation when I was sitting on my porch on Wyomissing Avenue and I watched some of the horses and riders go by. How often do you have the opportunity to showcase your ranch in parades like Moton?
Well, we do the Memorial Day Parade once a year in Moton. It's something that the kids enjoy. They can go out into the public. Usually we're here on the ranch on trail riding, but this is a way for the public to see what we do. And we do church carnivals and pony parties, different venues.
I'm assuming when I see these mostly gals going down the street, I'm sure you'd accept boys into the program.
Absolutely.
I see some proficiency there. They're in a crowd situation. There's fire engines making noise. There's people clapping on the side. Occasionally folks are throwing candy. How long does it take to get to the level of confidence where you can march down Main Street, if you will, on the horse?
With the child, it's up to them. Some children are more fearful than others, and others pick it up real fast and have no fear. The horses need to be primed also, so we try to introduce our horses to many different things before I put any young people on them, so I know they're safe. Also, we do have people that walk along in case there is a problem, that we can take care of that problem immediately if one of the horses is getting upset or nervous for any reason.
Is there a certain matching the horse with the rider, not just by virtue of size, but by disposition, temperament? Somebody who's more assertive can handle a more spirited animal? Yes,
there is. Different horses have different personalities, and so do people. So you try to match it up, kind of like a matchmaker that way.
So you got to get a little bit inside the person's head and the horse's head.
Yes.
And so what kind of a horse should I ride? A bronco?
No. Something with a little bit of very gentle, but yet it's going to challenge you a little bit.
Okay, so you are all the time reading people and the animals and make sure that you have a proper match there and everybody is safe.
Yes.
When you do a parade or you do a special event, you're bringing the horses over there. Is this pretty much A to Z? You are taking care of the needs of the animals, both to and fro, and saddles, and everything that goes with this. So it's pretty much turnkey for the individuals who would have your horses come when you're doing a party?
Yes, we take care of the animals completely. I have lots of help here. Some of our boarders help us out, and we go to a function and we trailer the horses there, and we saddle the horses and take care of the horses while we're there. We have spotters for the children. If we're doing a pony party, there's a spotter and somebody to lead the horse, and we clean up before we go, and we load the horses back up and leave. No sign of us there except lots of smiles and memories.
All right, we've got a little bit of a trail in front of us here, and I know there's miles of this stuff. Where is this going? Where did this come from, and where else can we wander on this property, and what should we expect to see?
Well, most of the roads are stone roads. They're service roads the borough has. These roads are our own roads. They go. There's a tenant's house up this way, and then that way goes back down to our house and another barn. And then if you go into the woods, there's trails, dirt trails in the woods that come out to hay fields, big fields that you can run in. And lots of versatile trails here.
Now I'm going to reach back in my mind's eye, but when I saw these horses coming down the main drag in Moton Borough for the parade, I generally saw a teenage girl on the horse. What's the profile of the person, entry level, who's coming in, who's most interested in horses, and how long does this endure? For a lifetime, for some, for sure.
Yes.
But in terms of those that come your way, they get some training. How long do they stay with a program?
It's very individualistic. I usually start around 7. Any younger, it's hard to keep their attention very long when they're young. 7's a good age, but I can start them at any age, and it at least goes up till they're adults. And or they lose interest and go on to a boy. Sometimes the girls meet boys in high school, and then horses kind of. Well, yeah, sometimes. No, I have a few girls that they want nothing to do. They just want horses. That's all they want.
Just interested in male horses.
Yes, and then I have adults that call up and said, "Oh, I rode when I was a kid," and we do adult trail rides for them.
We've certainly enjoyed spending time on the property, and now we're going to take a look at a little bit different side of the operation, horse boarding. Folks come from all over to bring their horses and entrust you with their animals, and so in just a moment we'll wander down to the barn and take a look at that side of what you're doing.
Okay.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Did you know that the chamber of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives contains a painting depicting the 24 hours of the day? Located in the center of the ceiling, the mural, titled The Hours, was created by artist Edwin Austin Abbey. This wonderful masterpiece charts the setting of the sun, moon, and the many stars that grace the heavens. 24 maidens, who each represent an hour of the day, begin each day in light and gladness and ends in solemn drapery carried on still shoulders. Now you know.
Kim, we're continuing our conversation down here in the boarding barn. And as I walked up and down here, you've got a lot of beautiful horses, but in this case, you don't own any of them. How did they come to be here?
People are looking for a place to keep their horses. They contact us, and we show them around, and they choose to board their horse here.
And they've got lots of ground to wander around in.
Yes.
I had a chance to peruse the property a bit here. You've got over 70 acres. And there's trail rides that you take the horses on, and there's pasture for them, so there's lots of open space, though it's close to everything.
Yes, lots of woods to ride in, and paths, trails.
I walked around the corner here a little bit, and as I was up on the little rise by the house in the back, I think you call it the caretakers' house.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard the hum of Route 222 in the background.
Very slight.
Yeah, but you're close. That's my whole point. You're
Yes.
close to everything.
Yes, we are very close, but yet we're tucked away.
I've probably driven by the main road on Madison 1,000 times without any exaggeration, having lived just 5 minutes from here. But I never had the occasion to turn down Bridle Lane there. How many people report to you, I never knew it was back here when they came for a ride down your lane?
You don't know how many people tell me that. They say, oh, they've always wondered what was down that little lane. Well, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's a piece of heaven.
Yeah.
My husband and I are very happy here.
It's a hidden oasis. Now, obviously, there's a legislative nexus with this program that we're doing, and one of the things that you mentioned to me, which is a key concern, and I'm a co-sponsor of a school property tax elimination bill. From your perspective, how does it affect your business model and your family having these kind of property taxes on this area?
It's very hard on us. We don't charge a lot of money because we're a small operation, so in turn, a lot of our profits go to paying our property taxes, which is difficult for us. We're even in clean and green to try and keep our property taxes down, and even still they keep going up every year.
So from the sounds of what you're saying, you've been following things, and a school property tax elimination bill, which would substitute the property tax for earned income tax or consumptive tax, would be something you would be comfortable with?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
We don't feel it's right that we've paid for the property and now we have to continue to pay for it every year.
So you're essentially you're leasing or renting your property from the government.
Yes.
And that's something that I, as a legislator, am not comfortable with. And we've got over 90 co-sponsors on the House side for a school property tax elimination bill, and there's over 20 on the Senate side. So I just encourage you to follow the development of that issue.
Yes, absolutely.
You've got lots of different personalities over here.
Yes.
I have to admit, when I was walking down, some of them gave me the look and stood back. Some of them were eager to be friendly.
Yes.
And others are probably looking for the hay that wasn't in my hand. Okay.
Yes.
How do you manage all these different temperaments and attitudes and dispositions in this stable?
Well, they're in the while they're in the stable, they pretty much have their own space. And they can see out and they can converse with each other. But when they're turned out into the fields, then they're in certain groups, because some horses don't get along with others. And sometimes we find that out the hard way, and then we'll separate them and put them out with other horses.
So if someone chooses to stable with you here, then the horses are all going to be together up in a pastured area.
Yes.
And they kind of pair off, or you have certain groups of horses that can avoid one another because they have the space to do that.
Yes, and there's a pecking order in any group of horses. There's always usually a lead horse, and then the others are pretty subservient, you know, and kind of mind their own business and stay out of trouble.
As we were talking, you have a couple empty stalls there, and
Yes.
I referred to it as hospice care for horses that are starting to get on in years,
Yes.
and you've been able to accommodate some of those horses for the owners
Absolutely.
that want to give them a quality of life toward the end. Can you share maybe a little bit of the story of those horses you had recently?
Yes, we changed their feeding. We feed them more amounts, softer hay, and they do have senior feeds out there, so we changed the feeds to the senior feed, which is ground up more for them, because senior horses usually lose teeth and they drop weight. So in order to try and keep their weight up, we feed them copious amounts of food, you know, and try and keep their weight up. And it's hard to let them go, and we've lost 2 this year in this barn.
You used an expression that I had never heard before, and I'm actually thrilled the more I learn about the concept.
See, they don't get along.
Are those teenage horses down there?
Yes, they are, actually. The one's very young, and they have issues.
You said senior feed.
Yes.
So you're providing specialized care right
Yes.
here at Hilltop Acres in the shadow of the Reading metropolitan area for somebody out there who has a horse that they can't quite keep up with. They're in a period of decline. They're not suitable for riding. And you've got feed for them, you've got care for them, and they can be managed right here on this property.
Absolutely, yep. Whatever they need.
We are so close to Moat and Borough, we could probably hit it with a rock from here in Shillington and Route 222. So this facility here is probably as accessible, or maybe more accessible, than any other, given its proximity to the urban core.
Absolutely.
Do you get visitors out here? People want to see what you're doing out here, and folks coming by because you have this oasis back here?
Yes, we invite people to come and see us. All they got to do is pick up the phone, make an appointment, hopefully, so we can make sure we're here, because we do other things. We make our own hay, so we're out in the hay fields in the summertime, and twice a year we make our own hay. So we're busy folks.
I see you have your fierce guard dog out here, Gracie.
Yeah, this is Gracie.
She did let out a bark or two. And
Yep.
I know your husband partners with you in this operation, Frank.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's on a piece of equipment nearby. What is he doing?
Right now he's fluffing the hay. We cut it Wednesday morning, and then he goes out and fluffs it with a tractor and a fluffer, and that picks it up off the ground so the air can get around it. And then tomorrow he will rake it into rows. And hopefully Saturday late in the afternoon or Sunday, weather permitting, we'll bale it into bales and put it in our barn.
It sounds like a lot of work. Now, you mentioned teenage horses. Can you tell us a little bit about the longevity of a horse, and how do you quantify that a particular horse has reached a teenage year? Is it temperament, disposition, age, all the above?
Well, usually the owners, when they're bought, they know what age they are, and as they progress, yeah, the teenagers are full of more energy and a little bit of vinegar, and the older horses are more docile and quiet. And when the older horses, you can see they're dropping weight, or they don't seem to be chewing their food properly, then it's time I talk with the owner and say, it's time to change their diet, maybe to a specialized senior feed, and give them more of it. But I'm always in contact with the owners. If there's a problem, if a horse gets hurt for any reason, I contact the owner and let them know immediately. Tell them what I'm doing. If I can handle it, I take care of it myself. And if I can't, then I'll contact a veterinarian to take care of it, and I'll be there with the horse.
Is there a time where you have a group of horses out in the pasture where you decide, hey, it's probably best that we separate this horse from the group for whatever reason? It maybe needs a little more acclimation to the rest of, I'm going to call them the herd,
yes,
the rest of the group of horses, and you say, okay, sorry you can't have time with your pals. You've kicked, you've done something, you've bit, or otherwise. Has that happened on occasion?
Yes, it is. We do have bullies, and right now I have two bullies together, so they can bully each other instead of bullying the other horses.
An owner comes in. How much background information are you looking for on the horse? It seems to me the more info you have on a particular animal, the better equipped you are going to be to serve that client.
Absolutely.
So how exhaustive are we in covering a menu of information about individual animals?
Well, they can only tell us so much about their riding habits and their stable habits, and then I have to go from there. A lot of it is, it's a hit or miss. I put them out and I see what happens. We watch them. I have somebody that helps me. Some of the other boarders help me around here with the process of watching them with whips and things in case we need to separate them or somebody gets into trouble, and then we make a decision together whether to move the horse or what we need to do. Give them maybe a little extra time, and most times they work it out themselves. The horses do. The horses do,
and it takes a little bit of time to do that.
Yes, it does.
You've got a sign up here, and it's a cautionary note about equine activity in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And someone who's been around horses as long as you have strategies for making sure not only the animals but the riders are safe.
Yes.
How often are you reminding people and cautioning people and issuing those kind of warnings to be certain that everybody's safe out here?
Daily. I tell people about their flip-flops, and I don't allow them, in the barn with flip-flops, but I can't control what the boarders do. They're responsible for themselves and their horses. But I can, the general public, I usually require them to have shoes on, no flip-flops, and proper. Clothing is not an issue. It's
okay.
more feet.
And you specifically mentioned flip-flops as we
Yes.
close out this segment here. You want something with a heeled boot,
Yes.
something sturdy, something that'll sit in the stirrup
And,
well.
and covering your feet too, because horses have 4 legs and they're 1,200 pounds of muscle. So when you get stepped on, it hurts.
I'll never forget the day that my sister, who rode and owned a horse and stabled back in Berks County, she came marching up to the front door, and she stood right in front of the whole family, and she looked down. She had a ribbon that she had won, but it had dropped off on the way in, so she just stood there, and we said, yes, Pat, what is it? And she went running back and got her ribbon. So certainly folks are very proud of their horses and take a genuine interest in them, and it sounds like you're doing extraordinary work here taking care of them. Kim, you've indicated to us there's another part of the operation, and we're going to go down there and take a quick look at how you actually instruct. We're going to have some young people down there with us that I know quite well, my two daughters, and you'll give them some firsthand instruction. I think it'll be illuminating to those that are watching the program. We're going to take a very brief break now, and we'll return with more of Legislative Report with Mark Gillen.
Did you know that Fort Indiantown Gap, located in Lebanon County, is home to Pennsylvania's only Veterans Memorial? C.J. Frederick of Westchester, Berks County, submitted the winning design that now honors those men and women who have sacrificed their lives in defending this great country. Dedicated to the Commonwealth on October 7, 2001, the Veterans Memorial is surrounded by freestanding walls and houses an amphitheater, which can accommodate large crowds during an event. Strategically placed in the front of the amphitheater is a tomb that reminds visitors of those who gave their lives protecting the freedoms of this nation. The design suggests a war-damaged structure in which Frederick wanted to impress upon those visiting the horrific arena of war. Now you know.
Welcome back to Legislative Report, and I have with me again Kim Nagel, and I also have my daughter Glory, who's 11 years old, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity, since she's visiting out here with me, to use her as the novice rider. Glory, have you ever ridden a horse before?
Yes.
Okay, and someone was leading you around at camp perhaps at one point, and then you got on it, but have you ever put a saddle on? Have you ever had anybody go through some of the description of what's involved with preparing a horse? Kim, you're going to do that for us today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please express our thanks to your husband. I know Frank is nearby, and he's an important part of this operation, though he is not on camera. So you take it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, Glory, we're going to get him ready to ride. You're going to clean his back, clean it. This is a curry, and this loosens the dirt. Small circles, slip your hand in there. Small circles. And I'll do this side. Want to clean your horse before you ride. This helps his coat, draws the oils out in his coat, makes his coat look very nice, healthy. Now Ringo's an older horse. He's in his 30s. Ooh. So his backbone's sticks up a little bit more than most horses, but he's very healthy and he has a lot of energy. And he can stand up for himself, huh? Can't you? Huh?
They generally enjoying this process of being rubbed right now?
Yes, it feels good. Helps. They know it's good for them, and it helps keep the bugs off of them by grooming when they have a healthy coat.
Seems quite content.
Yes. He's very content. He's a good old boy, and he's perfect for the children that are just starting to learn to ride, because he's very gentle. And aged, so doesn't have the spunk the younger ones do to take off for any reason.
He's got some experience. He's gone through these hoops before.
Yes.
He knows what's coming.
Yes.
Okay. And it's going to be a saddle.
Okay, Glory, now that you've loosened up the dirt, you're going to brush the hair away. Long strokes, the way the hair grows. This way, the hair grows front to back. That's it, long strokes. And I'm going to brush his mane and his tail. His mane helps him keep his neck warm in the winter time. And his tail helps keep the flies off of him. So he can't have any knots in his tail, or he can't swat the flies.
I noticed you mentioning in one of your barns the strategy for keeping the flies down was actually maintaining the cobwebs for a period of time.
Yes, we leave the cobwebs up over the summertime, and then we take them down during the winter. The cobwebs help catch the flies.
All right, next process.
Okay, Glory. Thank you. And now we're going to saddle him up. First, we put the blanket on him. And this protects his back from the saddle. And then, because he's aged, we have a special pad that fills in the low parts to keep him from his back getting sore. Now I'm going to let you try and lift this up here. You hold it here and here. We're going to face his butt so he doesn't get hit in the face. And we're going to lift and swing that saddle up. Ready? 1, 2, 3, lift and swing that saddle up there. Good girl.
How much does a saddle like that weigh?
Oh, probably about maybe 5-10 pounds. Not too much. This is a lighter saddle. It's a synthetic material instead of all leather. Leather saddles last forever, but they do have some weight to them. Okay, this is the girth. This is what holds the saddle on. And we're going to pull this under his belly. And then we're going to make what's called a Windsor knot. And that's what's going to hold the saddle on the horse. And next time you come, I'll let you do this, okay? I'm going to show you how to do it today. It's going to look like a man's tie. Does your dad wear ties? Well, that's what it's going to look like. We're going to tighten it a little bit, and then we're going to let him rest a little bit and let him breathe and rest and get used to that. We forgot a helmet. Let's go pick out a helmet for you, okay?
Certainly want to be safe.
Yes.
And you have a variety of helmet sizes in there, Kim.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Small, medium, and large.
Every horse rider is equipped with a helmet here.
Yes, if they don't supply their own, we supply one for them. Okay, is it good and tight? Does it feel comfortable? Alrighty. Now we put his bridle in. This is how you're going to tell him what to do while you're sitting in the saddle. And I bring my arm under his, so I keep his head towards me. He can't turn his head away from me. And this piece of metal is going to go into his mouth. And he has teeth in the front for biting the grass. And then he has a space here where there's no teeth, it's just gum. Then he has teeth in the back here for chewing his food. And that piece of metal sits on his gums there. And when you work the reins from the saddle, that piece of metal works on his mouth, and that tells him what you want him to do. So we always need to be gentle with the bit because that is his mouth. We don't want to hurt him, right? Okay, we're going to tighten this one more time before we get on him. We've got a little bit more out of him.
He seemed very accommodating for the bit. Other horses perhaps not as interested in having a bit in their mouth?
Actually, he gives me usually a harder time.
It looked pretty easy today.
He thinks he should be retired. I think next year he might be. But he's worked well for us for many years. We've had him probably about 15, 20 years. He used to be a camp horse. He used to go to camps, and teach kids how to ride. And now we got him.
How long would we expect a horse in good health to live?
Probably their mid to late 20s.
Okay. Well, let's see how good Glory rides this horse here.
Okay, Glory,
Mr. Ringo.
You're going to put your left foot in the stirrup, and you're going to hop off your right foot, grab here and here, and swing your leg over. Good job. Put that foot in the stirrup. And then with you right-handed or left-handed? Right. Okay, you're going to hold the reins just like this.
Kim, thank you so much for hostessing us out on your ranch here. We've thoroughly enjoyed the visit, and I think we're probably going to end with my daughter walking off into the sunset with Ringo.
Thank you.
This is Legislative Report with State Representative Mark Gillen. We've been pleased to be out here at Hilltop Ranch in Moton in Berks County. And if you have any questions about any legislative matter or you wish to contact our office, please look for the screen in the upcoming moments, and we'd be happy to entertain a phone call from you.
You ready, Glory? Lay the rein on his neck, give him a squeeze with your legs, and we're off into the sunset.